the work that we do in the community benefit sector is really interconnected, and every one of us has a different role to play in that space. And really wanted to highlight Kristy's work because there's a few things that are happening. One is that we're trying to meet the needs of our local community, and we need to do that in partnership with those folks who can invest their time, their talent, and their treasure with us as an organization. And one of the things that Kristy kind of helps cultivate is the opportunities to engage people and invite them into our experience here at our local community action. I think the other thing that was really important for me personally with Kristy was the opportunity to really focus on her own development and her depth of growth around the issues around equity, her personal journey of learning and understanding what it means for her to be in this space, how she can use her allyship and advocacy to advance the well-being of our communities and of our participants, but really also what it looks like for her to be an ally for me as a woman of color in this role, in this space. And I've just been really grateful for it. So I thought, what better opportunity than to highlight the way that she's galvanized her team, the way that she's done her learning and her work around understanding the needs of our community and how equity impacts the way that we show up in our solutions, and that she's done that both personally in her personal journey of learning, but also is challenging us to think about ways that we could be reimagining fundraising and development in a way that feels more human-centered and more equitable in its approach. So it just, I think, brings a lot of richness to the work that we're doing.
Have taken a little bit of a different path, I think, than some of my colleagues in the sector. I come from a for-profit background, having worked in Lancaster County in multiple different organizations over the years, and came to CAP with no traditional fundraising experience, but with sales and marketing experience. And so that's a hat and a lens through which I look at a lot of the work. And so it's really been a learning journey for me. It's been a lot of curiosity, a lot of leaning on other folks in our organization here at Community Action Partnership, also on my colleagues in the sector. One of the first things I did when I got into this role was work with two of my colleagues to develop a fundraising cohort called Developing Lancaster, which is very grassroots, but just folks who we could kind of talk to each other and share successes, share challenges, figure out ways to collaborate and work together in a way that maybe was starting to happen, but just could use some amplification and fuel behind it. And it's been also taking a lens on the entire profession and just looking at power balances, looking at partnership and how partnership might be different than the traditional fundraiser experience, and really asking questions and digging in, reading a lot, and starting conversations that we don't know what the end might look like or what the answers are, but being in rooms where those conversations can be started and, just generate new ideas. In 2018, Community Action Partnership merged with an organization called the Crispus Attucks Community Center. And throughout that process, we sort of inherited Crispus Attucks' biggest fundraiser of the year, which is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Breakfast. And year over year, with my involvement, but most importantly, my team's involvement and our committee's involvement, we've been able to increase sponsorship of that event. We're up to about a 40% increase total in what the sponsorship for that event looks like, at about $106,000 in 2023. Beyond dollars, when we think about, what I'm able to do in fundraising, there's also a friend-raising component of it. And so I think it's really important that we look at folks, at everyone within the community, as people who are able to offer something to our fundraising program here at CAP. And that might be dollars. It might be time within volunteering. It might be someone sharing their story. There are a lot of different ways that we can amplify, what folks have internally, because part of our personhood is just innately wanting to help others. And I do view it as a huge privilege to be a conduit to allow that to happen here in our community.